Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the show. I'm your host, Kyle Miller. Thanks for joining us today. I'm on a mission to bring you guys stories and insights from individuals doing extraordinary things. People have paved their own paths to success, making their life the way they want, and standing on their own 2 feet and making it happen. So that's my goal here with this show, and I'm here to bring you today. Our guest is Lainie Gratz. I appreciate you coming on to the show.
I appreciate being here. This is fantastic. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, Lainie, you're specific in what you do in helping businesses. You're a business, you're a B2B, right?
Yep.
That helps businesses get their image out in the marketplace, websites, designs. Tell me a little bit more about kind of like what you do.
Yeah, I definitely, as a multimedia designer, I have to help people either figure out their brand, if they have their brand, overcome putting it online, creating websites, also through social media, putting the word out there, newsletters. Really anywhere there has been a block or barrier to entry with regards to branding and marketing with their business.
So a lot of business owners, you probably get this, why do I need to be online? I got plenty of business. I got this, I got that, right? Or most of my business is from referrals. I hear a lot, because I'm in the real estate world, I hear a lot, all my business is from referrals. Great. That's good that you have a good business. But my thought is, and this maybe not everybody's thought, but my thought is, you want to grow this business. You want to continue to build on this. You need new clients. You need to bring in those customers from somewhere else. And I always say it's nice to understand if you're paying for leads and you know that conversion, because then you can just rack it up and you know exactly what you're going to convert at. You're going to exactly know what your acquisition cost is going to be, and then you can continue doing business. And then you're going to get more referrals because you've just done more business with more people. Exactly. And so the business, it just stacks and stacks and stacks. So, but with you, with web design, book editing, like the image, right? That's the first thing people see. Yeah. And so what do you think is the hardest part with as far as pulling businesses that want to get online and go about that and be visible? What's the hardest part, and how do you overcome that? I think it can be really overwhelming. I mean, when you're coming up with a business or you have your business and want to expand, you have so much going on. And so, you're trying to make the thing, you're trying to manage other people, you're trying to come up with just holding it all together. So I can understand where people get stuck when it comes to branding, when it comes to getting online, getting on a website, jumping into social media, jumping into Instagram, TikTok, things like that. So that's the biggest thing. It's like overwhelmed, not really knowing who to go to, where to find the work. And then also, I think that people have budget problems. Right. Often they'll go to something like Fiverr and think that they can sort of cut corners. Right. The problem with branding and visual identity is that usually you need multiple kind of hands for various different jobs. So a logo, the website, the social media, the newsletter, or videos or a book or what have you. And you can't just get that from one, cheap website, like Fiverr, The 100% agree with you. I obviously I didn't know you when I designed my one website, and I went to a professional here in the States, and she gave me color palette. She gave me design. What do you call them? I forget, like a design packet. Branding packet. Yep. Yeah. So she gave me everything. She gave me logo, she gave me font style. Yep. She built out the whole thing, and I paid for it, right? And from there, it was like perfect, because then I can use it on anything else. Now I have a bunch of virtual assistants that work for me, and I'm able to take that instead of just calling you up and say, hey, I need this done, this little thing I've done on my website, boom. You've got it. I've already got
You've already
everything.
Got it, the package, yep.
But that whole process was really like, I had to sit down, I had to go through, I had to answer questions. What's this brand about? What's this about? Yes. That's not something you can get off of Fiverr. No, it's not. And actually that's, a little bit of the other barrier is time. Right. So it's not
it's not like you hired this person and it's just going to get done. You do need to sit down and give them some direction or give them some ideas or let them know what you're going for in order to get there. So once we get there, once you have that branding packet,
right.
And that's where you always start so that you can move, and especially the logo, so that you can take that and then build out the website.
Right.
Then build out everything else. Because really it always starts with the colors and the fonts. And
I was so surprised about how many questions. I mean, I forget how many questions it was. It was over 50 questions. Mm-hmm. What's your goal? Who's your competitors? What websites do you like? What's the font styles that you
exactly.
like? What's this? What's that? And so it's like things that I never even thought about. I was like, I just want a website, and you probably get I just want a website. I want it to look cool. What does cool look like?
Right.
Like,
oh my gosh, that could look like 1,000 different things to different people, right?
Right.
And the whole point of that process really is to save time. Mm-hmm. I know it's kind of frustrating for people who want to just get the thing done and they don't have time, but it is to save time. If you just do a little work up front, usually with my process, once I get those questions answered, I will build out the website and start with just a foundation. It's just kind of a template to get the feel of where things are supposed to be. Is this going to be a banner? Is this section going to have testimonials? Kind of lay it out and then pass it on back to them so that we can sit down and think about images, think about copy, and what needs to change from there. Because they'll come back and say, oh, I like this. Oh, maybe we tweak that.
Right.
Or I love it. Thank you. Let's go. Usually that's not the case.
Right.
There's going to be some adjusting.
Something. Yeah. And that's the hard part about just business and trying to pull stuff out of people's head on what they really want.
Yep.
Because if you really go and ask anybody, what do you really want? That's a question that most people can't answer. What do you really want? Well, I want to have a successful business. What does that mean? Well, I want to make good money. What is good money? $100,000 a year. Okay. All right. Now we're starting to get concrete stuff. Let's build it out and let's go backwards. But that creative process is even more difficult because you're like, what do you like? What style? Man, congrats to you to be able to build a business on that, because you're almost like a psychologist in pulling that out.
Truly. And the crossover there is a lot of people tend to have obstacles with this process. There's the feeling of not knowing or being creative enough to know exactly what they want. There's that. But also also they start pulling in, images and doing the copy and doing the writing, you tend to sometimes hit some walls. Mm-hmm. Either they get busy. They come up with certain things. They get busy. They get hurt. They get, things come into their life, and it creates this stall. And so part of what my job is as that psychologist is to reel them back in.
Right.
And a lot of people too have anxiety around this because there is a certain level of success or of failure or fear of failure or fear of success that has to be overcome, and I can sort of see when it happens. And it's usually towards the end or when there's a stall. So it's a matter of letting people know it's not going to be a big deal. This looks so good, and show them some example. Just be encouraging and enthusiastic. So that's another reason why I think going to a professional in general is helpful, especially someone who knows how to get handhold through those obstacles, because they'll come up.
Because what I found, and because I've done this just with myself, is that when you hire somebody on the creative side, for me, I need somebody who can really reel me in. I'm 100 miles an hour. I want it done. I want it done. But then there's all these detailed questions that I got to ask. So, and I've tried to do this with virtual assistants off of Fiverr, off of Upwork, where I go and I feel like I've given a pretty detailed account, but there's so many holes in there. And then I always got to come back to the email, and I'm email for me is not the greatest.
No,
I'm not a good communicator through email, and I'll just admit that. But I'm really good as far as texting. Yep. If you text me, I'm on it. Yep. I'll do voice memos. I'll go back and forth with that.
Yeah.
And then setting appointments and meetings to do Zoom. So because I'm very visual.
Yep.
And I like to see things. If I'm reading it, I create pictures in my head.
Okay.
And so that's how I see things.
Yeah, that's important to know and to pull out of people, because my job, I have to be super versatile in all of those ways. So if you're the type that is only going to use Google Docs and does not like to email, I have to adjust. Cannot force like a particular type or way of doing things. So I think one of my strong suits, I guess, is like problem solving, and then just catering to whatever that is.
Yeah.
So
and I need to be held accountable. Like, because if you're just sitting there waiting on me, it's like, I got to get that done. I got to get that done.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just how I operate.
Yeah, no, have some teenagers and you know how to hold people accountable.
I'm getting there. So how did you even get into this?
I have always done art. I've always been an artist ever since I was young. And, eventually I guess I had to pay the bills. But I went to school for art and found myself loving design, so any of the design classes. So it was just like I loved doing this online digitally. So that was part of it, just really appreciating it. Another part is just knowing I'm naturally good at problem solving, like just knowing what you're good at.
Right.
And it leads you into these different places. I would do websites for my family members, things like that, where people would just ask for help, and I was interested enough to learn, and so I found ways to do it.
Okay.
And then it just kind of kept building and building and building. And yeah, I mean, I don't want to be a starving artist, so this makes a lot more sense to me.
Right.
That's definitely one way. But I enjoy helping people, and I enjoy helping people find their brand, find their visual identity, getting it out there. That really excites me, because it is like the biggest barrier from your idea. Like, say you have an idea for a business.
Right.
To putting it out there, which that's like that's so exciting. That's everything about the idea. And it really is part of the creative process. So I'm really just continuing to create in that way.
So you were able to take that love of art, that love of, and then filtering it into, you started working with family and then filtering it into a full-time business where you could actually get paid more than an artist.
Yes. I mean, I would obviously love to get paid as an artist too, but we have realities, and I don't know. It just, I've like I said, I've found myself doing this and really being excited about the aspect of just helping others, and that keeps me in it,
Well, that's exciting.
It's rewarding.
Yeah.
You put it that way.
I'm sure it is.
And there was just a calling too. I just followed a calling. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm sure you were called to do this podcast, and
I was.
Followed it.
I wanted to meet more people, and I was like, how do I meet more people?
Yes. I would like to actually get out from behind my computer and do more work with people. I think moving forward, I do freelance and things like that now. I would love to work for a bigger company that needs me to do more of that, so that I can have more access to people and help them in that way. So,
because I've looked onto your website, it's pretty cool looking. I like how it's very, I don't know, I like it. I like the style. I like how you wrote your name with the upside down I at the where did you like to travel?
I do.
And do you find getting a lot of inspiration from when you travel?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've done. We were talking about this earlier. I've hiked the Camino de Santiago in Spain a couple of times. I went with my mom last year, and traveled south, out west, up north, other countries. It's so easy to get inspired because you have to become really present. And the minute you become present, I feel like it comes in. You know what I mean? And then also being able to let go of responsibilities. There's something about I'm not near the dishwasher, so I can now focus on creating. You know, so travel is definitely part of it. I would love to be able to combine the two. Actually, if I could become a digital nomad, which I think there's a visa in Spain for digital nomads now. You don't have to have a visa just to stay for 30 days. It's a 2-year. I think it's a 2-year visa. So that would be optimal. But that's one great thing. If anybody's looking about getting into web design, graphic design, or multimedia design, you can really do it from anywhere. it's optimal to be with your clients, be able to have access to your clients, but that's what we have Zoom for, you know?
Right.
And, yeah, so if you're called to travel, you should do both.
Yeah.
You know?
It's
That's
just
what I
another
say.
opportunity. And I wholeheartedly second the traveling lets your mind, lets your brain kind of like separate itself from all the daily tasks that you do and really focus on the now. But then I love to ski. That's my favorite thing to do. I
Nice.
love skiing. So anywhere I can go skiing. But when I'm out there on the mountain, I'm thinking, I'm going and doing the runs, and I like steep and deep. That's what I like. I like
Okay.
it. And so when I'm out there, like things just come to me.
Yes.
I'm like, oh, maybe I should do that. It's like when you let that mind go,
Yep.
and you don't put that stress on it, and you're just kind of free. And I guess this is what artists talk about when they're drawing.
In the zone, yeah.
Yeah, that's me
Or
out there
athletes in the
doing
zone.
that, and I'm
Yeah.
like, it's free thinking. I don't talk a lot. I don't listen to music when I'm out there. I'm just like, just in the moment, and just
Yep.
things start coming to me,
Yep.
which is
So,
wild.
What you're also talking about is just basically what happens during meditation.
Uh-huh.
And a lot of people actually like art or cleaning or anything where you get into the zone
Yeah.
is a meditation form or type of meditation.
I didn't know this.
But you can do that sitting. You can just sit. You don't have to travel anywhere, and you will get the same similar like pause. You just have to pause, you know, for long enough and let go of all the thoughts. But that's what happens when you ski. It like forces you to let go of the thoughts because you have to be so present with where you're going, not
Right.
hitting a tree, you know.
Right.
And then all of a sudden you get these downloads.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
I'm basically meditating out there when I'm skiing.
Exactly. Yep. And people are meditating out in the woods when they're taking pictures of birds. They're, you know, you can walk and meditate. It's when you put focus on something like very extremely. So actual meditation, you're focusing on your breath.
Right.
And so that helps to like get the thoughts out. And so the insight can come in. But when you're skiing, you're focusing, you know, on
Okay.
that skiing. And so it does the same type of thing.
I need to do more meditating.
You do. You do. You can go to
I need to sell my
Yogaville.
wife on this. Hopefully she's listening.
Y'all go to Yogaville. We'll teach you.
I was thinking more of just skiing.
Yeah, or go skiing. Yeah, sailing, any of those things.
Oh, that's interesting. That's pretty wild. So what's your experience with kind of, the meditation and helping and expanding the
Wow.
mind? And
It's funny you asked that. I just came off of a 10-day, 10-hour-a-day meditation retreat. So it's called a Vipassana, and it's based in Buddhism. And it's kind of the hardcore version because it just gives you a major reset, you
Okay.
know? And when you sit that long, I guess it allows you to really know what's important and what's not important in
Okay.
your life. You know, some people go down to Peru and do this with ayahuasca. It's
Right.
the same type of thing. Or medicinal mushrooms or things like that. It's just, I just feel like I'm more in control. And yeah, so Vipassana retreat, or just if you find a local meditation group. I think Unity has one. So I try to keep up at home with it,
Okay.
maybe 30 minutes or an hour a day.
yeah.
And it's a practice like anything else, but I do feel inspired by it. I do feel less anxious from it. There's so many good benefits, for sure.
I've heard about the benefits. Maybe this is what skiing does for me.
Yes.
Because I really enjoy it. I love how it just sets me free. I don't
Yes.
think about anything but that, and
And the feeling you get in your body,
oh yeah.
because you release like a lot of, I don't know, toxins. It's just all the way around. It's good stuff, for sure. And I think actually that's given me a lot of patience because sometimes in this field, working behind computers, people that are stressed out, you have to have also a certain level of patience.
Right.
And so I think it's just necessary to move forward, and to...
Well, I can
overcome.
imagine, because obviously with my real estate, we've done a couple houses where we sell them before we're done,
Yeah.
right? And we give them options to come in and pick different colors, different things, and it's hard for them.
Yeah.
It's hard for them to come in and make decisions and I want this, because there's so many different options out there.
Right.
Right.
There are.
And so it's like, hey, we kind of narrow it down for them, but it's a lot of hand-holding. It's changing minds. Oh, I don't like this, or I like this. Can we do this? Can we do that? And so there's a lot of back and forth on that stuff, and it's very difficult. So
that's where the patience comes in.
Yeah.
There's been millions of times that this is another reason why certain pricing comes up in web design. People are like, why would that cost that much? And it's because this process of going back and forth, the client saying that they want one thing, and you spend a lot of time doing that, and then all of a sudden they completely change their mind.
Right.
So you have to do it all over again.
Okay.
So I like to price like a flat rate, building that in.
Right.
And I try to be really fair. I try to be really accessible, because not everybody needs a $5,000, $10,000 website. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's why the pricing. And there's also hourly for other little things that get added on, or making room for add-ons is really important. Anybody else who's also getting into this, make sure, when you're pricing, or potential clients, make sure that the job's going to just change, and so you got to leave room for add-ons and extra work if things get changed. So.
Right. It's not going to be that, 15 hours to get this website done, and that's it.
And it's done.
Yeah.
It could take a month.
That
it could
15
take 2
hours
months.
yeah.
And usually it's something that, something that the client still needs to do.
Mm-hmm.
And so, again, that goes back to, then it's my job to, make sure, gently handhold, or it depends. Some people need more like consistent reaching out to, it just kind of depends on each person. So, yeah, it's a matter of reading them.
What would you say if somebody's coming to you and wanting a website done? What would you say the things that they need to look at, things they need to think about, before getting this project moving?
Okay, so I would first say, think about their audience. Who are they trying to sell to? So it goes all back to the logo and the colors and the fonts. That all has to be done first. If that's not done, that's the first thing you have to do. If you have all of those things, start looking at other websites that you really like. I do more creative websites that are a little more surprising, unexpected, just like I like artful websites. So I tend to attract those types of clients.
Right.
But I can really do anything. So if you need just a simple website, I can do that as well. So knowing kind of what style, based on your brand of website, that you're looking for. And then looking at other websites, kind of comparing, being like, this is what I'm feeling. And then also being flexible, knowing it's all going to change, not being too caught up in that original, idea or image. And then we sit down. We usually meet for about an hour, sit down, kind of roughly go over what the needs are of the client. I will ask for copy and photos, so it'll be like an About Us page, descriptions, a bio, services, things like that are all real important, because that sometimes I'll put in, just like lorem ipsum fake copy, cat pictures, so that, something's there.
Right.
But those are really important things to start gathering for a website. So if you have a services page and you have 3 services you offer, start going on to different stock photo pages, finding, those photos for those services and save them in a file. If you have ideas of what you want to say about what your service is, start writing it down and keep it somewhere, because that's going to be a question that comes.
Right. So this is not building a website out in 15 days and having this whole creative process. That's not going to happen, right?
It can happen if they are rebranding or just trying to update a website,
right? Which
means they already have all the copy, already have all the photos, want the website. Maybe they want to switch over to Squarespace, which is what I focus on.
Okay.
And
what is Squarespace?
Squarespace is a website platform, just like WordPress or Wix. Squarespace is super user-friendly.
Okay.
I think that it's easier for me to build a website on Squarespace, and then if they want to upkeep it, I can consult them on that, and somebody can learn how to do it themselves.
Okay.
Or people can just get on Squarespace and actually build their own website. Usually there's sort of a learning curve and need some help, but I can even just consult on that if somebody is like close enough,
Right.
So Squarespace is just really user friendly and looks nice. And then, so what I was saying is, if somebody just wants to update their website, then that could take 15 days. I've done something in 2 weeks because it was all there. All I had to do was rebuild it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But starting from scratch isn't going to
Starting from scratch, no.
What would you say, starting from scratch, a good expectation, realistic, to happen?
I would say 2 months, but it can be done in 1 month if it's just small.
Right.
And it can be done in launch and then take a little more time to tweak.
Right.
So it really depends. Like if you have a deadline of a month, yeah, of course, you can get something done
Right.
and then tweak later. But I would give time, because usually the time is not up to me. It's
Right.
up to the client, because they are the ones that need to get me the information.
That's the process. For me, it was just like, it did. I think.
How long did yours take?
Like 45 to 60 days
Yeah.
is what it took me, somewhere in there. I don't know the exact. I know it went on. I was like, man, this is taking
Longer
forever.
than what you thought, yeah.
Like, the guy who built the website had the website framed out in
Right.
like 2 weeks.
Exactly.
Right?
That doesn't take long.
So that part was done. But
Yep.
then I had to fill the daggone thing up.
Yes.
Like I had to put the pictures on. I had to get the wording right.
Yep.
And I was like, good. It definitely was a lot longer than what I anticipated it being.
Yeah.
Right. I thought I could give the brand the pictures and the brand design.
Yeah.
I thought I could give them that. Here's the website I want. Make it happen. Done. No, it wasn't like that at all.
And part of this too is if you're finding yourself getting stuck on pictures or copy, the wording, you can hire a copywriter. You can hire, usually the web designer will also find, I can find pictures for people.
Right.
I can add that but typically, because that's something that clients like to pick themselves or want to know themselves, it has to come from the client. And did you hear the person who is helping you with your site, did you ever hear them say, you know what, we can tweak this as we go. We can get it launched. It doesn't have to be perfect.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. They did say that. I don't like it. It's all right. We can make this happen. We can change it. And let's be real. If you're just getting a brand new website on it, nobody's going to see it the first day.
They're not.
And
actually, that launching is what it takes for the client to get the final things in.
It's that step, right?
Yeah.
Putting it out on the internet and putting it out on so where people can see it. That's that you're crossing that imaginary line. That okay, I did it.
Yep. Crossing the
There's
threshold.
so many people that stop right at that barrier and get scared and it's not right.
Well, they come up with that excuse.
Yeah.
Whatever it is. Some people have gotten sick. I've seen it's subconscious. It can be so subtle and it can be so obvious. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So launching it and then actually also thinking about all these other ways. So social media,
Right.
newsletter, printing out a newsletter form and putting it around or wherever to one place that you're going to get a lot of people signing up.
Right.
Hanging up flyers, really hitting it at all different angles,
Right.
not just focusing on one thing. That's another thing a lot of people ask is, how much traffic am I going to get from this? Well, are you promoting it? Are
Right.
you marketing it?
There's now that's a whole nother step, right? You can build the website and you can
Right.
get it out there and you can put it out on the web.
Yep.
But if you're not running traffic to it,
Yeah.
then why do you even have it? Or, you've got to do some sort of advertising
Yes.
to get people to go to that website.
Yeah, so make sure you have a budget, for marketing on
Right.
whatever platforms, on Facebook, on, you can put stuff on Instagram. A lot of people have fear of putting themselves out there on Instagram, and that is kind of an art in itself as well. So if there's a fear of doing that, you can hire people to do that, and
Right.
they'll help you with that branding, with that image on Instagram.
Yeah.
But also consistency. Without, I find what helps a lot on social media, on Instagram, is, and newsletters and things like that, is giving something, teaching something more than what you're asking.
Right.
more than what you're selling.
Yeah.
So getting on lots of different groups that have to do with your brand and help answer questions. If you're into, like I just started leading an astrology study group.
Okay.
And one of the things I've done is gotten on a ton of astrology groups on Facebook,
Right.
and going on and answering questions that people are asking about their charts. And then, or forwarding to those, like say we'll list something about the moon that we're talking about, certain moon phase right now. I will forward that from our group to another group, but it's educational. But they'll see my group.
Right.
And then if they're like, oh, I'm in Richmond, I'll go do that astrology study group. So really, the more you give, the more you get.
And I think that's with everything, with any business.
Yeah.
And the whole thing with social media, I think people like to see how things work, and they like to be educated. So if you're teaching them, like realtors, if you're out there, like show them the process through a mortgage.
Yep.
Show them the process through a closing.
Exactly.
You're going to get more people to actually like follow you and want to be with you because you're actually educating them in that process.
Yep.
If you're just showing houses, just walking, look at this house. Okay, great. I can do that on Zillow.
Yeah.
Right. But
Yeah.
if you teach them, how to go through that process and the different things that you can come up with. Hey, on this inspection, look, we just came across XYZ. This is how we're handling it.
Yep.
This is why we handle it this way.
Yeah.
Same thing with any other service industry, anything like
Totally.
that. People like to see the insides of how things work and why they work.
Yeah.
I went on a cruise, and my favorite thing about the cruise was I went underneath and saw all the mechanical stuff work. That was my
Wow.
favorite thing of the cruise.
That's cool.
Because how does this thing work? Right?
Did you get to meet the captain?
I did.
That's a big deal.
We went up on the bridge, and then we went. My favorite was the mechanical room because it was just like, this is
Mind-blowing.
insane as far as the
Yeah.
engineering and everything that goes on in those things.
Yes.
But that's what
excited you.
Yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
how does this thing work? We paid extra for this tour, right? And I think
they should share that. They should share that tour on social media and be like, hey, if you come on this cruise, you get to learn.
Right.
You know what I mean? Things like that. And actually the aspect of it that I think that is so good for people is that it empowers them.
Yeah.
It makes them feel empowered in the process. And there's something you can do with your business, actually, is you can go on to something like ChatGPT, actually, and you can ask, for this business, what's a good example? A pickle bar. Somebody wants to make a pickle bar. If I want to make a pickle bar, I saw one of these at Burning Man, so I just loved it. Spent lots. That was my watering hole. What are the top 10 questions that an audience or people who love to come to a pickle bar want to know about a pickle bar? And it'll spit out 10 major questions,
right.
like, what types of pickles are served? How do you make your pickle drinks,
right.
pickled okra drinks, or whatever? And then you use those questions and that information to then go on and teach people. See what I'm saying?
100%.
And it works, like you said, in every industry.
Somebody's going to be interested in learning how things work, right?
Yeah.
And I just think if you do that and you're genuine with the business, and then this is where you use that. Hey, if you want to learn more, go to my website, click on this.
Exactly.
You got to use that to drive traffic back to your website.
Exactly. If you're just trying to sell the thing, it's like, here we go again, another sales commercial,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Be educative. Teach them. Like if they learn something, great. If they want to buy something from you, tell them where to buy it.
Yeah.
Because that's who I like to buy stuff from. People that I'm like, oh man, I really like that guy. He's doing good work. I'll support him. I want to buy his stuff.
Yeah. And also I think that helps people who are afraid of getting on social media to overcome that because you're helping people.
Yeah.
So it's like rewarding.
One of the things that's kind of helped me in this process as well is instead of saying this is the way to do it, because anybody and everybody can tell you that's not right?
Yeah.
They can say, oh, you don't do it that way, you do it this way. That's the best way. And everybody's going to have a comment. But if you say, this is the way I do it, right? It's one small little change, one thing that you can do that's not necessarily, you're not alienating anybody, you're not telling anybody else that they're wrong, but this is how I do it, right?
Totally.
I do it this way and it works for me.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, and you've gotten inspired, right?
Right.
You've gotten inspired to say that. So who are you not to share that?
Right.
So I think that's important for
Definitely.
sure. Not to hold back.
Yeah. We can't do that in social media. We can't do that in business. We have to let everybody know that we are in business, right?
Yep.
We can't, and that's why you're going to use those videos and push those back to your website, social media, ads, all of that stuff. And do you help with ads as well, or no?
I do.
Okay.
Yep. I create ads, put ads out there.
You do the creative on it?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Nice.
All across the board, actually. That goes back to the problem solving. I've learned a lot of this just from over the years, people needing different things.
Right.
So
Right.
just, yeah.
Well, Lainie, how do people get a hold of you? How do people get in touch with you and possibly work with you and go through this process?
So you are welcome to check out my website. It's lainiegratz.com, and I'm sure you'll have a link, Kyle.
Yep.
You can give me a call directly and email me, lainiegratz@gmail.com. And really just, all the outlets are there. If you need help with anything, if you need, like I said, visual identity all the way up to social media content management or websites, videos, video editing, any of this stuff, I can help you out. So I look forward to hearing from your guests, and I look forward to being here.
Yeah.
I mean, I look forward to, I've really enjoyed being here, so I
Awesome.
appreciate it.
I'm glad you came. I'm glad you appreciate everything that you said. I'm sure some people learned a lot about this, educating them. I looked on your website. Anything that I have now, I'm going to reach out to you because it's pretty
Awesome.
cool. I liked it a lot.
I appreciate that.
Guys, go check her out. Thank you for showing up today, listening to this show. Check out Lainie. Again, LainieGratz.com.
LainieGratz.com.
is the website. It's pretty cool. But until next week, business owners, people that are making their way in the marketplace, in life, paving their own paths, that's who we're talking to and enjoying every conversation that we do. Thanks. Until next week.